Hey everybody, welcome to the Think Outside the Blue Box podcast. I am Anthony Rivera. I'm going to be your host today. I'm the lead videographer and editor here at BlueBox Digital. And joining me today, I have my cousin. He actually went to film school, and he knows a lot about the industry. Mr. Josh Perez.
Thank you.
Hey, welcome.
I've never been introduced this way, so I don't know what to say.
What do you go by now? Josh or JP Leduc? What do you go by?
I don't know. I actually really like Joshua now because yes, I was trying to be like I need to be something like J.J. Abrams. No, I actually really like Joshua now. It feels more mature.
Yeah.
Like every time somebody calls me Josh now, I'm like, oh.
So you go by the full name Joshua.
Joshua. It feels like
it's
Joshua.
just like people call me Tony. I don't like that.
No.
All right, well, welcome, man. Give us a little bit of background. I know you said that you went to film school.
Yeah. So went to Full Sail University. I almost said Flatiron. No, that's the other one. No, Full Sail University, which was, at the time, it was a great school. It is still a good school if you wanted to go to film school, just in case. But
just in case you're watching.
But after that, I went into the film industry for a few years. I tried to do my own photography business, and I really enjoyed it, and I do love it. And I think it's interesting that you're doing it now, just considering how much of that was a part of my life. But then seeing you working in the computer world and thinking like, maybe I want to do that, and then you're like, maybe I want to do what you do, and then we just kind of switched.
Yeah, we kind of switched. You went to Full Sail. I didn't go to film school.
Right. So I ended up going to Flatiron School in New York City for programming, and that's what I do now, and I enjoy that more. But it's funny because there is some crossover with like graphic design and like visual, and you sort of take what you've gotten from this idea, like you have to present something visually to someone, but you just do it in a different way, kind of thing. So there's still that level that I like about it, but it's way less camera and equipment, which I think is the problem that I ever had. Yeah. I was like, I'm bougie. I want the medium format cameras that are $30,000, and if I don't have that, then why am I doing this?
Then why do it, right? No, and like carrying all this stuff around is a full-time job. Yeah, it's a full-time job. And the studio here is on a third floor, so going up and down the stairs is not fun.
This is why you need an assistant or interns, unpaid.
Unpaid interns.
Unpaid interns.
I actually have a few of those. Josh, I know you have some actual movie credits.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
I have one that I'm most proud of. I maybe have another one, but I've never actually checked this one for Django Unchained. But prior to that one, I was working on Ender's Game as a production assistant. It was the first credit I ever had.
What did you do there?
I was a travel assistant, so technically a production assistant, but strictly for the travel coordinator, which at the time was a big deal because New Orleans was bringing in a bunch of LA crew, and they still had to hire local crew, and for the tax credits and that whole mess. So like I didn't know how to navigate, but for example, they had to send people back to LA and then bring them back for vacation because otherwise they would have to pay them for that time, and it was just too expensive to do so. I was like, I'm so confused about why you would spend $350 million on a movie. I get it now.
That's why. Yeah.
Most of that budget is not for the movie. It's for traveling people back and forth.
And that was, you said, on Ender's Game?
Ender's Game, yeah.
Ender's Game. I know you have a few stories about Mr. Harrison Ford on that one.
Oh my God.
I want to hear about those.
My favorite story about Harrison Ford is the day that I got stuck on set for 45 minutes, and my production coordinator's like, where the hell have you been? And I was like, let me tell you a story. We went in, and the funny thing is that he's like known for this now in his older age, but he's also smokes a ton of weed because he has medical marijuana card. So he was he was going over his lines, but I guess the director didn't like the way he was doing the lines, or he had forget a certain word or something. I don't remember, but I do remember him saying, keep rolling. Actually, just keep rolling. We'll keep doing takes. And that was like, as the camera's rolling, nobody can leave, move, speak, nothing. So you're sitting there for 45 minutes straight. And I was just staring at the door, like waiting for it to open, anxious. And I was like, I'm going to get fired. This is it. Harrison Ford got me fired. That's what it felt like. But know your lines, actors.
Yeah, I mean, terrible. I've read some articles that he's pretty bad about
remembering lines. Yeah. It's hard. I'm sure it's a hard job, but especially when you have that many lines. But my God, I was like,
yeah, I mean, if you do this for a living, you kind of need your memory. So maybe smoking weed all the time is not,
I know, right?
is not as good to remember all those lines.
I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, that's not the Joe Rogan experience. You can't do that here.
You can't do that here.
So let's just jump right into it, man. I wanted to discuss with you today. The art industry is going through a lot of changes recently. The one that really comes to mind is Taylor Swift. How she's taken ownership back of her art because these big record companies and things they have a pretty strong hold on the music industry, and artists just kind of have to be at their whim, and it's
right.
They just kind of have to roll with the punches sometimes, and they get screwed a lot of the times.
For sure.
And then Taylor Swift coming out. What do you think about that?
I think it's an interesting concept to re-record your albums for the sake of ownership. I know very little of the background of what Taylor Swift have to go through, but if it's anything similar to what the industry is, it is hard when you're literally a product. And so essentially, I think that it's the right thing to do. Like in a way, I think that Taylor Swift is doing what every artist should do, and it's to do the thing that's going to piss off the people who you thought you needed to kiss their ass. Because sorry, I'm going to ask you a question. Can we cuss on the...
Yeah,
absolutely. Sorry, okay. I was about to say the F word, the S word, and I was like, should I no. Yeah, but I think it's fucked up. I think it's fucked up that if you're an artist, you spend most of your life just
honing in on your craft.
Yeah, like that's what you do. And she was doing this since she didn't even have a high school experience. Like this is her life. And
literally,
you're taking that away from her by one, taking away her money, which is it's her money. Like you're not doing the job.
Yeah.
The job is hard. And you sit in your ass and you just look at the money come in, and it's not right. So
to play devil's advocate though, the record labels do a lot for these artists. They do a lot. No, like promotion wise and things like that, but not to the extent that they own the content.
Right. And I think that that's the difference. I think that's where the separation needs to be, which I really like the example of Kevin Smith taking his own distribution at hand, because with the movie was Red State, I'm sure he had producers, and here I am talking out of my ass a little bit, but what I do know is that he did do his own distribution. He found a way to cut out the middleman and be able to make as much profit as possible from the movie, and I think that that's smarter. I think that what distribution companies end up doing is taking ownership, and then they give you this lure like, oh, well, we can reach all these, but also if you're smart enough, you can just auction out your own rights. So I don't understand. I don't know. I guess there's a difference between having Paramount as one of your front,
If you like the name recognition.
You want that name recognition. I guess there's a difference between that and having your own private label, and then not being able to put it in every, in any of the theaters that you want, but still.
But that's actually changing.
Yes.
With the internet and technology and Web3, that's kind of becoming decentralized. And, artists are taking their art back. They're going direct to customers, and they don't really need those companies anymore.
No. When webisodes was a thing, that was also a way for people to be like, no, if you want to create your own content use, the idea that filmmaking is accessible because you can buy professional style cameras. They're accessible to a point where you can make something and put it on Netflix. I mean, what was that movie? Tangerine, was it? That was filmed on an iPhone.
Yeah, on an iPhone.
Just make your art and put it out there for people to watch. I guess that, and then it just adds the argument. It's like, do you do the art for money? I mean, it's like, yeah, because at the end of the day, we have to pay bill. Your rent is still there, and your electricity bill is still there. So you can't just be like, well, I'm an artist, so I deserve to go for free, which is what rent is. Which rent believes they should just get rent for free because they're artists, and it's like, okay, that's not how life works.
It's kind of like how people see athletes. They get paid these millions of dollars, and some of them do get overpaid a little bit, but they've dedicated their life to this. Yeah. Like their bodies are basically the property of the NFL. So
true.
It's like, they're giving up a certain amount of rights, I guess, to, be part of this huge company that will get your name out there.
I do think it's interesting though, because artists get screwed because art is such an objective thing. Like, not everyone is gonna like your... Am I using that correctly? Objective versus subjective?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's such an objective thing. Like, not everyone's gonna love your art. Your art's not gonna be for everyone. So when you're going into the masses and you're talking like, all right, you have a football player who's playing in the Super Bowl and he's being watched by millions and millions of people, and everyone involved from that player to the customer is making millions off of this, and they're spending millions on this. So it's almost like, okay, it's understandable that a player could get millions because there's millions involved, but what about your small art? And it's like, should you, at that point, how can you give the market accessible to artists so they can make that kind of money? And is that even up to us? Because objectively speaking, what if the art sucks? For me, I'm not spending money on it.
Yeah.
So it's like,
you're not part of their audience.
But am I part of the masses? Am I part of the majority? You know? And then at that point, it's like, it's argued that would a company coming in and helping distribute that in a way that if they have to take part ownership because they're putting a lot of money into that product, is that right?
Is it?
Is it?
Is it though?
I don't know. And that's the thing. Like, you don't sell 49% of your company to then be like, you can't, you know what I mean? Like, you're like, yes, you're the executive and you own 51% of your company, but do you really have the right to make all the decisions? 49% of my money is involved in this.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
You're owning like half my life, basically.
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard. Yeah. Art is hard in that way.
It's tough. Yeah. No, I know some people actually, I've been asked before by clients, like, why do you charge so much? Like, you're only here for a certain amount of hours. And my answer is always, you know, it's not the hours that I'm spending with you. It's my entire life that I've dedicated to this craft and all the money that I've spent on student loans and all this stuff that, you know, that goes into honing a craft. Just because you see it as art, just because you see it as this thing that, you know, it's fun, because it is fun. I love doing what I do.
Fun. It's visual. It's pleasing.
But it's hard work, man. Yes. Like, I hustle like you would not believe to pay my bills. And,
I can only imagine.
I think that's why you got out of it.
100%. Yes. I prefer the salary. I'm like, you know what? I'll be making less, but I will be happy. No, but I mean, in a way that's part of something people don't understand about art. And TikTok has really put this at the forefront, where artists are able to present their art to millions of people free of charge. They just have to post the videos and try to push them as much as possible. Instagram's doing the same thing, but both of those platforms being this easily accessible and free way of presenting your art, and then letting people decide whether or not they want to buy it. And then still people will be like, well, I'm not going to pay $500 for that. And it's like my favorite example is exactly. Yeah. So my favorite example is the lady who does the balloon art. And it's like, yeah, sure, you're only making like the number 21 in balloons, and it sounds simple and easy, but are you going to do it?
Yeah.
And if you're not going to do it, do you know how to do it?
Yeah, do you
know
how
if
to
you're not going to do it, and you don't want to pay the money to go do it, then that's why I charge more, because it's my time, my resources, my everything. And I don't know, I agree with that. I agree that if you want to charge whatever you want to charge, people will buy it for that price because they want your product.
And I've, at the flip side of the coin, man, I've had people specifically seek me out regardless of price because they like my work. So it's like, you know, if I'm not, and I might sound a little cocky, but if you don't see the value in what I'm providing you, then you don't value my art.
Exactly.
Then you're not my client.
Exactly.
You know, and that's okay.
That's 100% okay.
That's okay.
Because you can allow those people to tell you need to reduce your pricing, and then you do, and you end up suffering in the long run for it.
And not only that, you're devaluing everyone else's art.
Exactly.
You know, all the other videographers that are doing the same thing as me. Like, if I undercut them, you know, it's kind of like you're undervaluing, and you're kind of proving the customer's point. It's like, it is subjective.
Right.
It is subjective. Sorry. It's not objective.
Oh, man. English is hard.
Subjective. I love this guy. See, these are the conversations that you and I have all the time. It's just now we have microphones. So.
That's true.
We can amplify it. So, I mean, going on the ownership of art, let's talk about NFTs.
Oh, NFTs. You know, I have no idea what that even like I know what it is, but I don't know. I still don't understand the concept of, like, is it it's not physical, it's digital, but is it
digital?
Is it like equivalent to like an MP3 file?
The way that it was explained to me is, let's say you right click on a picture on the internet and you hit save as. You're copying that to your hard drive.
Right.
The difference between that and an NFT is that the NFT links to the blockchain, and the blockchain is a verifiable proof that you are the only owner of that JPEG.
Interesting.
That's the difference.
That's so massive.
Yeah. And that's huge, because it's not only the art, bro. Like, people are creating smart contracts where it has like an algorithm in it, and it's unique, and it has its own unique address in the blockchain. So anyone in the world that has access to crypto can check it. It's fascinating.
It's
man.
interesting. That's interesting. I actually did not like. It's eye opening in a way that like a lot of things could be NFTs.
Yeah,
it's going to open up a whole new world.
We're just in the beginning of it.
Oh my god,
just in the beginning of it, and it links it with the whole metaverse and all this stuff of Web3 that's coming out. It's decentralized everything. I don't know if you've looked into that.
Oh God, no.
Yeah, it's decentralized everything.
Horrifying.
There's not going to be any platforms. Instagram, Facebook, all of them are gone. Now it's the metaverse, and everything's decentralized. And
I'm so confused now. Time to research this. When I first heard of metaverse, I was like, is that like a joke? Is it like an April Fool's joke? And I was like trying to figure it out, and I was like, oh no, that's real.
Facebook just wants their name to be attached to it, but it's decentralized.
Yeah,
it's not Facebook's idea. They're just the ones that are going to capitalize on it quite a bit, and I think that's why they wanted to create their own crypto a while back, which I think the Senate or the Congress didn't let them. They didn't approve.
Could you imagine?
Yeah, they would create their own economy.
It would be terrifying.
They're gonna do it one way or another, man. Never underestimate Mr. Zuckerberg.
But the thing is, like, people fear this kind of thing, but this is how progress works.
Yeah,
I mean, people feared the idea of totally, because people fear the idea of Bitcoin, and they said like, of course you get the religious right coming out with like, well, this is the end of times, and you get the people who are not scared of religion but scared of the government, and they think, well, this is the way to control us. It's like, yeah, but if you think about it, our money as it is right now, it's nothing. Nothing backs up my dollar. Nothing backs up the money I make.
It's no longer backed up by gold.
No. So at this point, we're just throwing cash around, where crypto has a verifiable origin, and it can never be changed.
And there's a finite amount, so they can't just copy new Bitcoins if they run out. So that holds value, in my opinion.
I agree. And I think that if we can embrace a future where we agree that there is ways to sell, or to at least have an economy that isn't based solely on, I don't know, magic. At this point, it's what it is. I mean, I work for my hours.
It's a belief system that this piece of paper is worth $1.
Exactly. And that's going to change. That changes the way that we value money, because at the end of the day, we don't value it for what it actually is worth. We value it because we need it.
Yeah.
And that's...
We've been told to value it.
Exactly. Which I don't like, because there's some ways, like, if crypto becomes... Especially now that like even Tesla is accepting it, like many websites are accepting
AMC?
Bitcoin. I know, it's not great.
Just
when that happened, I was
Bitcoin.
like, oh no, this is too much.
Not only crypto, they're accepting Shiba Inu.
That's crazy.
Which is like a meme coin, dude.
Yes.
It's not even a real coin.
Oh, weird.
So, yeah.
But I think that the idea of an NFT, decentralizing the market, creating, especially because it's not hard to create an NFT apparently.
No.
And so
Zoe created one. Right. My daughter created one.
I was like, so you're telling me that Joe Schmo on the streets, don't know much about computers, can still easily create an NFT, have strict ownership of this, and I can now sell it and be
directly
sure
to the customer
that I will always profit from this.
Yep.
I think that that's important. I mean, we're talking about copyright laws that change the way we respect things beyond a certain point. Where open domain or public domain, whatever it's called, it's like you can just go and grab whatever music you want from that or whatever book you want from that, and it's yours to do whatever you want with, because that's the way that works. But as far as NFTs go, it changes that completely.
Yeah.
Copyright is not even like, you don't even have to file for copyright. Yeah. It's right there in the blockchain.
It's already in the blockchain.
So it's like, I don't know. I think that it's a good thing. I think that in the future we will see the good in it. There's always bad in everything, especially when it comes to technology.
Yeah. There's always going to be bad actors with any new technology.
Yeah.
But right now is the Wild West, man. Everybody's out there experimenting with it. And I was going to tell you, I was going to talk to you about, do you listen to Gary Vee at all?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, he's been at the forefront of NFTs for a long time. He's been pushing it for a while, and he actually started creating his own NFTs, and they look like shit. I'll be honest with you. They look like a little 2-year-old drew them, but it's art. Yeah. Like you said, it's subjective, and some people might find value in that. But the way he's doing it is he's selling it as an NFT, and he's throwing a conference for entrepreneurs and hustlers and, you know, his kind of crowd. And in order to attend, you have to own one of his NFTs.
Nice. But that's smart.
It is smart.
It's like verifiable proof that you bought an NFT from Gary Vee.
Yep.
There's no fake ticketing system. There's no fake entry. That's smart.
Yeah, and then when it gains in value, they sell it, they make money off of it, and then he also makes money off of it. So it's brilliant. It's brilliant. It's a way to get probably hundreds of thousands of NFTs sold in a very short period of time.
Cool. Stop the podcast. Let's do it now.
Yeah, let's do it right now.
But the funny thing is that technologies like this have existed for a while. Not necessarily like this, but in the sense that we try to find new ways, like how music had the copyright that you couldn't play on certain devices because it was strictly no, you have to only play
DRM.
The DRM, thank you.
Yeah.
And I was and that I remember when that first started to become more prominent, especially after everybody was pirating and that became a thing. And I just remember thinking this is smarter because it protects the artist or it protects the people that you're stealing from. And going into the film industry at the time, I was yeah, no, if I make a fucking film, it's my fucking film.
Yeah.
I would, and I remember thinking, I was how many movies have I pirated over the years? But then I was thinking there is something to be said about respecting someone's talent or someone's product. And that's hard because people believe that they have the right to everything.
Yeah.
Especially here in America.
Yeah.
We have that problem since the very beginning. I mean, we just passed Thanksgiving to remind us of that little tidbit of our history. So it's we feel we own or we need to own everything, and I don't think that's the case. I don't think we need to. I think ownership should have an origin, and that origin should be the reason that we respect it.
I agree. And with that, we're going to end it, man.
Yeah?
That was it. 30 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Well, thanks again, man. Thanks again for coming on the podcast and talking about the ownership of art.
Of course. This was fun.
Yeah, this was fun. We got to do this again. Yeah, like I said, you and I have these kind of conversations all the time, so it's
funny because
actually
I was writing out the notes, and I was just I would be saying all of this at the time when I was writing the notes, and I was trying to stop myself from having the conversations beforehand. I was oh God.
Well, good that it came out on the microphone. All right, well, that's going to do it for us. Thank you for watching Think Outside the Blue Box. This is going to be available on all the podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcast. The video podcast, if you're listening, is going to be available on the YouTube channel. So just Google Blue Box Digital YouTube. And Josh, where can they find your stuff, man?
So currently I only have one singular page, which is funny because I used to have a ton for JP Leduc when I was doing photography. But no, now I just Joshua P Leduc, JoshuaPleduc.com. And that's my portfolio right now for programming. I'm full stack developer, so if you need a website, let me know.
Call him up. He's good. And any social media?
No, I have no social media. No. It's funny because social media is scaring me with the vastness and the accessibility of it. I'm just people just know too much about me before they know me, and it's I'm weirded out.
They can vet you without you even knowing.
Exactly.
It. Yeah.
It's too terrifying for me. People are why don't you post more? And I was hello.
Yeah.
But I do think it's a good idea for businesses. So
yes,
definitely follow BlueBox Digital.
Follow BlueBox Digital 1 on Instagram and Facebook. Thanks for that, Josh. And with that, we'll see you in the next video. Thank you guys for watching. I'm Anthony Rivera. See you in the next one.